He's going to figure out a way to subliminally tell us something off, bro. We seen the display the other day when she walked past reporters with her face up against the wall like this. Like she ain't want to talk to nobody. Well, I'm here to tell you, we finally get locker room footage. Now, this is something that we have not seen throughout this entire tournament. Videos of what is going down inside Team USA locker room.
It was supposed to be another routine qualifier, but instead it turned into a chess match nobody expected. One player broke records, yet found herself mysteriously benched. The offense stalled, fans panicked, and questions went unanswered. And then, like a plot twist in a thriller, a new coach appeared, and everything clicked. Suddenly, the obvious became undeniable. What hidden tension had been simmering, and why did it take a sudden shake-up to finally let the truth dominate the floor?
Welcome to the Bandano Podcast, where we're calling a spade a spade. Great to be here with you guys today. What did I just watch? What happened? Where was all the transition offense from yesterday? Where was all the team ball from yesterday? Non-existent today. You know what happened? I'm just speculating here. Kara Lawson, preparing for today's game, she got tapped on the shoulder. Tap, tap, tap. She looked behind her, and there she was, staring at Kara Lawson.
The uncomfortable part is not that Caitlin Clark dominated. Everyone expected that. The uncomfortable part is how easy it was once someone finally stopped overthinking it. Because now the question is not whether Clark is great. That debate quietly died somewhere between 5 broken records and a 55-point demolition.
This is very profound. Now, in the footage that I'm about to show you guys, you're going to see Caitlin Clark not talking to anyone. Head down like this. Everybody else going to be laughing and joking and playing. But she's going to be very serious. Now, I believe this footage was taken before the game, possibly after the game. But to me, it don't matter when it was taken. It's letting us know her attitude while in Puerto Rico, I should say. Now, with that...
The real question is who exactly decided she needed to be toned down in the first place, and why it took a coaching disappearance. For common sense to make a comeback, let's start with the part that sounds like fiction, but unfortunately is not.
That Caitlin Clark is stuck on the outside looking in, and I feel like I have an idea why. Be honest with you guys, I believe there's some agenda going on. I believe Kara Lawson is back coaching Duke, the head coach of Team USA. She wasn't even there today. She wasn't even present, okay? I believe Nate Tibbetts was told you do not start Caitlin Clark. Chelsea Gray is the starter no matter what.
Team USA opens its qualifying run, and Clark steps onto the international stage like she has been waiting her entire life for this exact moment. Not easing in, not adjusting slowly, not finding her rhythm like analysts love to say when they are buying time. She immediately rewrites history.
So Team USA just had an impressive win yesterday over Italy, in which Caitlin Clark came off the bench to give us 12 points, 5 assists, had a handful of turnovers. Overall, a good game. The entire game changed the minute she got in there, as every game does usually. Caitlin Clark has a problem. Number one, she's too good. She's running circles around people. She can drop 30, 40 on your head. She can give you 15, 18 assists if everybody catches and scores. She's a problem. She changes the entire pace of games. It's ridiculous. And then on top of being good, she's also global. She's iconic.
Records in one game, not spread across a tournament, not collected over time like souvenirs. Point one appearance. One stat sheet, one very loud announcement to the entire basketball world that she is not here to participate. She is here to rearrange things. At this point, any reasonable coaching staff would look at that performance and say, this is the engine now. This is the system. This is what everything revolves around moving forward. Instead, what followed felt less like strategy and more like a group project where nobody wanted one student doing all the work, even if that student just solved the entire assignment in 5 minutes. Enter Kara Lawson, who responded to this historic explosion by doing something that can only be described as aggressively democratic. Rotation started shifting, minutes became inconsistent, and somehow, the player who just broke international basketball started spending stretches off the ball or even off the court, as if this was all part of a larger philosophical statement about fairness. It sounded noble on the surface. Everyone deserves touches. Everyone deserves rhythm. Everyone deserves their moment. Which is a beautiful idea until you realize you are applying it to a player who just turned the entire game into her personal. Highlight reeled, IT was like discovering a Formula One car and deciding to drive it in a school zone because the other vehicles might feel left out.
And you know what Stephanie White said? Slow it down, coach. Slow it down. You see all the publicity Caitlin Clark's getting today? Did you see the news? Everybody's talking about Caitlin Clark. We can't have that. The transition offense, Caitlin Clark making passes that nobody in the league has ever seen before. We can't have that. Slow it down, Carol Lawson. Switch it up. We got to make everybody else shine. We don't want her. Everybody else needs to shine. Today's night, gonna be Paige's night and Angel's night. Yeah. What a brutal game, folks. What a brutal.
And then came the press conference moment that made everything just a little more suspicious that a reporter asked a very simple question about Clark's role, and instead of answering it, Lawson delivered a masterclass in saying a lot without saying anything at all. The response drifted into generalities about teamwork, shared responsibility, and how every player on the roster is used to being a star somewhere else, which is all technically true, and completely irrelevant to the question that was asked because nobody was confused about whether the team had talent. The confusion was about why the most productive player on the floor was being treated like a guest in her own offense, and this is where things start to feel less accidental and more coordinated because sitting in that same coaching ecosystem with Stephanie White, who just happens to coach Clark at the professional level with the Indiana Fever, and if you have been watching closely, you already know the pattern: slow the game down, move Clark off the ball, limit how much she orchestrates an open space, turn a generational playmaker into something slightly more controlled. Individually, you could call that a stylistic preference. Together, it starts to look like a shared philosophy, and fans noticed. Because basketball fans might argue about everything, but they're very good at recognizing when something feels off. And what they were watching was a team that looked electric when Clark was running the show, and strangely hesitant when she was not.
What's going on, my Fly family? It's your boy Izzy. Welcome if you're new. Hey, my neighbor was just grilling over there, and guess what he grilled? Hamburger and steak. Hey, it might be some beef in the air tonight, man. Nah, in all seriousness, man, some of y'all have been hitting me, asking me, Izzy, what is your take on this Caitlin and Angel situation, the USA basketball team? What's going on here? Can you give us some insight?
The numbers backed it up. The eye test screamed it. The pace shifted dramatically depending on one simple factor: whether Clark had the ball in her hands. But here is where the story takes a turn that even the most dedicated conspiracy theorists did not see coming. Right before a key matchup, Carl Lawson was gone. Not gradually phased out. Not ceremonially replaced. Just gone. And clear explanation. No dramatic announcement. No satisfying resolution. One day she is there, carefully managing rotations and avoiding direct answers, and the next day she is not on the sideline at all, and into that very convenient vacuum walks Nate Tibbetts. Now, Tibbetts did not arrive with a long speech about philosophy or a manifesto about team balanced. He did something far more radical. In this particular situation, he looked at the roster and started the best player. That was IT. And drama. No committee decision, no emotional debate about fairness. Just a simple, almost suspiciously obvious basketball decision. Clark starts, and suddenly, everything that had been complicated becomes very simple again. The offense flows, the ball moves. Players who looked slightly uncomfortable before now look like they remembered how to play basketball. The pace jumps, the spacing improves, and the entire system starts functioning like it was designed by someone who enjoys scoring points. The lineup clicks immediately, featuring names like Kelsey Plum, Paige Beckers, Angel Reese, and Ryan Howard alongside Clark. And what happens next is not just a win, it is a statement disguised as a scoreboard. A 55-point blowout, .101 to 46.
So people think Caitlin Clark is getting iced out on Team USA, but she's still leading the team in points and assists. I've seen the clips everyone's posting. Moments where it looks like Caitlin Clark is wide open and not getting the ball. Or another player is pushing the ball up the court instead of letting her initiate the offense. But here's the part people are missing. This roster is loaded. You got elite guards like Chelsea Gray, Kelsey Plum, and Paige Beckers. You also have players with completely different styles like Angel Reese, who naturally push the pace when they grab rebounds. So when you have a roster this loaded with talent, there's gonna be an adjustment period.
Kind of result that does not just end a game, it ends arguments, because now it is no longer theoretical. You cannot say maybe this approach could work when another approach just produced a demolition that looked like a varsity team playing against a group that met each other 5 minutes before tip-off. But the real moment, the one that made everyone shift uncomfortably in their seats, came after the game. Because Nate Tibbetts did not do the usual coach thing. He did not deflect. He did not hide behind vague language. He did not protect the previous system with polite ambiguity. He acknowledged, in plain terms, that the constant rotation changes had not worked, that the group needed consistency, that the lineup featuring Clark and the other core players made sense, which, in coaching language, is about as close as you get to saying, yeah, we overcomplicated this. And just like that, the entire situation flipped. What used to look like a philosophical debate suddenly looked like a very avoidable mistake. What used to be framed as team balance started to feel